Welcome to the Erasmus Foundation podcast. My name is Paul Nugent. Are you looking for answers to life and its meaning? Then this may well be the very podcast you need to listen to. In a series of podcasts, we are going to look at the difficult questions of life and apply spiritual knowledge to find out the answers. Hello. Today we are going to talk on the subject of AIDS and HIV, a subject that's been talked about for many years now, probably more in the 90s maybe than it is now, and yet it's still about and it's still out there. And today we have Bedina to talk about it. So greetings, Bedina.
Greetings.
So what's your feeling on AIDS and HIV, Bedina?
It is a plague which is affecting your world. It has done for some years and it will continue. It has been here before in other civilizations in the past, and it will remain here for some time to come.
Now, in the, say, late part of the last century, it was quite rife and it was considered as a real killer with no sign of a cure. Now, at present, they talk about a medication that keeps it under control. Doesn't cure it, but it keeps it under control. Is this something that's going to continue in that vein, or will things change?
It is an extremely intelligent virus which adapts to its host. It may enter the body and hide away within the body in different places and remain there until it is ready to replicate itself in strength, and then it will burst out, declare itself, and make itself known to its host. It may hide within the body for some time, even perhaps for years. And as I say, then surface at an appropriate time. This means also that there are those who may carry this disease and be utterly unaware, and they would not test positive, but they would still carry it. It is to remain in your world for some time yet. And there will be a cure one day, and it will be something very simple. But the great mind will decide when this should be. He has already decided when this shall be. But meanwhile, there will be many, many within your earth who will return home as a cause of this disease.
Thank you, Bedina. Now, in the past, in the previous century, it was always stated as being a disease caused or of the homosexual community. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it is not true to say that it is a homosexual disease, not at all. It affects both men and women of whatever sexual behavior is theirs. It is even to be found in some animals. It will also perhaps become contagious within the air as it mutates and develops. I say maybe because it has developed like this in the past, in a previous civilization. And it could very, very well develop in a similar fashion during your civilization. It is more dangerous than people perhaps appreciate, particularly at this time when there is little spoken about AIDS in your media. And it would seem that the human interest in this has now gone to sleep, and people no longer discuss or remain aware of what is happening. But the disease is still there, even if people are ignoring it.
Thanks, Bedina. So, yes, I think this is probably true what you're saying. Well, it is true what you're saying. And it's become old news. And because people believe that it's now under control, and from what you're saying, this is not the case, that it's not only is it dormant in people, but undetectable in some people, is what you're saying. So
Mhm,
it's being passed around quite considerably in our population.
mhm.
And are we saying that it's more widely spread than we believe?
Yes, very much so.
And of course, it has a slight, well, probably considerable identification with COVID and bird flu as well, which are behaving in a similar sort of way, are they not?
They are all viruses. And while viruses are living in strength, it gives them the opportunity it gives them the perfect conditions to develop, to mutate, and to relate one virus to another, which then mutate further and create a new virus. So potentially, all of this created by man's behavior and the way he treats his world, the environment of his world, is causing these mutations to develop, to grow stronger.
Are we talking about some sort of super virus in the future? A combination
Yes,
of all
yes,
three?
yes,
Yes. Okay. And I'm assuming that this is the very thing that's been talked about in the foundation for a long time, that the
mhm,
population will decrease in size in time.
it will. Because also all of these things and other influences will affect the fertility of mankind. So people will not be able to reproduce as much as they can at this time.
So people will ask, Bedina, is this some kind of punishment for something that we've done wrong?
No, not at all. Not in any way. No, there is no punishment. Punishment is simply something invented by man as part of the laws and the way of life of man. Man might punish himself in some circumstances, yes, but in spirit there is no punishment. It is not a concept within spirit at all. This is simply the response to a circumstance, events created by the mismanagement of your world by mankind. And this is the consequence, the cause and the effect. It is not possible for man to behave, to abuse his world, to mismanage his world as he has done, without some response from nature in return. It is part of the natural law. It is logical that if you do something which is against the natural law, then there has to be a consequence, not a punishment. This is simply cause and effect, a logical conclusion.
Because the natural law is balance, I guess. And with,
Indeed,
with balance, if we as a race of people on this planet are going against that balance or in some way damaging the balance, then nature will, as you say, because of the way the natural law is designed, will automatically balance that side of the coin, so to speak.
Yes.
Now, the future then, Padina, people may see this as a true and utter disaster, which in one way it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the world has to change. I mean, many people,
Man has to change.
yes. So man has to change. And you speak to anybody these days, whether they have spiritual views or not, they believe that we are heading for a disaster. And
Yes.
so it's just a matter of time before this disaster or balance happens.
Hmm.
And are we talking fairly soon, Bettina?
I am not dispensated to give you a date or time, and I would say that man has a choice. How much nature is to respond is in accordance with how much man is prepared to make effort in repairing and putting right the damage he is doing and has done. Is mankind going to continue with polluting and poisoning his world? He will do this more and more until there is a response, which will then indicate beyond any doubt how damaging his behavior is becoming. Now, when that is or how that is depends very, very much on choices that are made worldwide by mankind in general. No one, no country, no race or culture is entirely to blame. This is a problem which is worldwide.
Thank you, Bettina. Now, it isn't all bad news, is it? I mean, it sounds bad news to people down here on Earth, but from a spiritual point of view, it's exciting times, is it not? The
Oh,
time,
indeed. Yes. A time of change, a time of great challenge, a time of great learning in the earth. But unfortunately, sometimes it is a painful event that teaches us all the most. So I say it is exciting because there is so much to be learned from this time. And mankind will take his lessons forward and apply what he learns from this time well into his future. Your earth is to develop spiritually in many, many ways, scientifically, medically, and with greater knowledge of the history of your planet, what has happened in the past, what is to happen in the future, how man is to develop spiritually, and how he has to learn and change his behavior and his attitudes and his whole concept of living has to be reconsidered to be fitting in with the natural law. All of this is to change in accordance with how it is meant to be. And the key to this, all of this, is spiritual education. It will give the tools for man to clean himself and his planet, to find ways to cleanse all that is needed to be done.
Thank you, Bettina. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I think you've covered quite a lot today.
No, I think AIDS is something that is very sad. But again, as I say, it is part of the natural law. And it will not be here forever. Like all things in life, there has to come an end. But then that has to be put into practice by man first.
Thank you very much, Bettina. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Erasmus Foundation is a spiritual teaching and healing foundation based in Laxfield, Suffolk, in the United Kingdom. We have a webpage, www.erasmus-foundation.org. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, or indeed have further questions for us, then please contact me on paul@erasmus-foundation.org, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. Thank you very much for listening.